and welcome to Tomorrowland Week here on Thingamavlogs in honor of Disney's live-action Tomorrowland movie, which came out just last week. I'm a big fan of Tomorrowland the land, so what I'm gonna do is talk to you about the history of Tomorrowland attractions, or as I call it, yesterday's attractions. First on my list is Disneyland's People Mover. Some of you might be confused because the People Mover still exists at Walt Disney World, but Disneyland used to have one too. The People Mover opened in Disneyland in 1967 and was there until 1995. And in the beginning, the ride was supposed to be a very serious prototype for intercity transportation. It's just like a chill little tour around Tomorrowland in something that moves people. It's a people mover, if you will. There's nothing currently in the spot that the People Mover used to operate, but it did get turned into another attraction, the Rocket Rods. The Rocket Rods were meant to simulate futuristic rapid transit, and it opened in 1998. 98! Unfortunately, it had a lot of technical problems, and so it closed permanently in 2000, and there's been nothing in that spot ever since. Leave in the comments down below what you think Disney could put in that spot. I want to hear your ideas. I think this is a cool idea. Tell me your ideas. In case you were wondering, the Rocket Rods went at a whopping 35 miles an hour. Next up is Circle Vision 360. Circle Vision 360 is a film technique that the Walt Disney Company pretty much perfected. It's still in effect at Epcot in the O Canada show. If you've been to see O Canada, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's where the screens are just all around you. For Circarama, they used 9 cameras and 9 huge screens, and the first film to be presented in this format was America the Beautiful. And then there's Adventures Through Inner Space. This attraction also opened in 1967 and was running until 85, when they demolished it to make room for Star Tours. This ride was also narrated by Paul Frees, who's the voice of the ghost host on Haunted Mansion. Little fun fact for you, famous Disneyland voice acting. Paul Frees. Basically, on Adventure Through Inner Space, they made people think that they were being shrunk down to the size of an atom, and then they explored molecules and protons and other little scientific things, all in an Omnimover doom buggy type situation. Car thing. Walt Disney World folk definitely still know this attraction. It's the Carousel of Progress. Carousel of Progress is still at Walt Disney World, but it used to be at Disneyland. In fact, it started at Disneyland. Actually, that's a lie. It started at the 1964 World's Fair in New York, but let's not split the details. After the World's Fair, Carousel of Progress was at Disneyland from 1967 to 1973. Then it was reopened in Walt Disney World in 1975, making it one of the only attractions at Walt Disney World that Walt Disney ever worked on himself. Woo. Woo for you, Carousel of Progress. Carousel of Progress actually holds the record for most stage show performances in all of American theater. So if you visit Walt Disney World, you need to go on it and say, thanks, Walt. Love it. Getting weird in this video. Last but not least are Tomorrowland's famous flying saucers. This attraction was only open from 1961 to 1966, but it's made a lasting impression on Disney park fans everywhere. People basically sat in their own flying saucer, which was lifted up into the air kind of like an air hockey table, and then they used it as bumper cars. If this sounds familiar, it's because Luigi's Flying Tires was basically the same concept, but in its place is the famous Tomorrowland stage where the Jedi Trading Academy happens and the nighttime performances.